Listen up, partners. This is Good, Bad, Ugly on World Improv Network.
Good evening, everyone. I am Alex.
I'm Jim.
And I'm David.
And we are your astute win counselors who get you through the week with any problems that you might be experiencing or any daily grind issues you want us to resolve. So let's get to our first winner. Our first winner's name is Franck from Paris, France. And he writes, Dear Win, with the fears of ongoing terrorism spreading through France and Europe because of Egypt Air Flight 804, are you people in Denver worried about flying on a commercial airliner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself, I am always terrified to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many more things than terrorists that can go wrong.
Well, you know, that's funny you should mention that because there was a court case. Remember, we were watching Community Court, and that was pretty cool this week, about a guy who got kicked off the plane for looking too scary, and they actually described him as Darth Maul. That's how he looked.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that would be terrifying if you saw Darth Maul walk onto the jetway.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's also just the general things that can go wrong in the air. I mean, screws can fall out of the planes, wings can fall off,
Tires
they can just
pop.
split in half. Tires pop. There's just a multitude of things that you can catch a cold. There's a multitude of things that can go wrong during a flight.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, TSA. You know, the TSA, they can't keep people. So I'm kind of concerned about, the temporaries
That kind of says it all right there.
that are filling in, checking our luggage and disposing of our over 4 ounces of lotion.
Uh-huh. So your biggest concern is TSA, that they're letting stuff go through the cracks, basically.
You know, I don't know how anyone could do that job and be fully in the game.
Yeah.
Because you're staring at a screen all day and you're dealing with, I think the higher tax bracket has more of a problem being touched.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and especially also litigation for being touched. Like the guy that sits there and tells them, put your arms over your head, when that little, almost looks like a teleporter from Star Trek, spins around and scans you, and then it wastes your armpit hair, as well as the odor that's coming from the armpit hair, and that must just drive a guy nuts.
Yeah, hey, I just went to Florida, and on my flight back, this guy was, he was a higher tax bracket, and he was giving the TSA guy a hard time.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, sir, I'm just doing my job, so you have a safe flight. And this, I didn't say anything because I wanted to make it home.
Right.
But, what's up with that? I think these kinds of people should have to do,
Military drills.
Or wait tables.
That's a good idea.
Public service.
Yep. So they can kind of see all spectrums of what you got to go through. Yeah. Franck, what I have to say over here is I take a little bit of both on this one here from Dave and from Jim. Anything can happen in the air with an airplane. That's kind of a frightening thought to be cruising at 600 miles an hour at 37,000 feet and everything's just kosher, right? The other thing that is kind of frightening is that TSA, those guys, when I go to the airport, they're not even paying attention. I mean, half the time they're just sitting there on their iPhone, they're talking to the other guys and people are just going through like cattle down to a chute to get a bullet put through their head in order to be eaten on a restaurant plate, at some other day. So if you put all those things into consideration, that's kind of scary. But my biggest fear about flying or going on an airplane is just stepping outside to the fresh air to try to go to the airport. I'm really scared of going outside.
Oh, are you agoraphobic?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on to Spicin, who's our next winner. Spicin from Sedalia, Missouri writes, Dear Win, I'm from a little town in Missouri called Sedalia. We need to create jobs to keep the town from dying. What do you think will happen to our town if Mr. Trump becomes president? Well, he's going to make America great again, obviously. So, therefore, Sedalia, Missouri, you're probably not going to die. I don't know what kind of town it is, if it's a gold town, if it's a logging town, if it's a tourist town that just happened to go bad because Branson, Missouri took all your business. I'm not sure. But I can guarantee you Trump is going to make America great again, clearly, because he's now sitting in the mansion, the ex-presidential mansion in Iraq, hanging out doing some briefings where Saddam's presidential mansion used to be in Baghdad. So he's getting like enlightened over there, like the Buddha. So he's going to come back and he's going to make America great. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know Sedalia well, but I think a Sedalia Trump Tower, probably not the scale of New York City.
Great idea.
But I think Sedalia Trump Tower,
great
maybe
idea.
2 floors and a little workout room with like a spinner and maybe a stepper.
But like a gold revolving door to the entryway. Even have a guy that checks your bags, for example.
Yeah, and you get a chocolate chip cookie. I think that's a welcoming gesture to present a chocolate chip cookie to anyone And I mean, it's chocolate chip cookies are universal.
That's awesome. And so you basically run a whole advertising campaign to come to Sedalia, Missouri to see the Trump Tower of Sedalia. Put it in a brochure and all the expensive airline magazine publications like in, Air Emirates and that kind of stuff. Come to Sedalia, Missouri and stay in the Trump Tower.
Yeah, and it'd be in Sky Mall because that is the -- magazine of airplanes.
Without a doubt. Jimbo, what do you think?
Well, my understanding of Trump's platform is that he's going to build a wall around every U.S. city and make Mexico pay for it.
Okay, so almost like an internet ring around each state. Fiber optic.
Yeah. And you're going to be confined to your city. So I hope you like Sedalia, Stuyson, or Spicin?
It's Spicin, yeah.
Okay, like spicy bison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I hope you like it there because you're going to be stuck inside.
Well, that's a great point, too, because if the town, he says, is dying, but it's not dead yet, if they get that wall up there in time, they can't escape.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like a stalag or a gulag.
Mm-hmm. And they'll have to start eating each other.
That's it. And they're going to also have to produce with their own relatives and to keep the population going.
Yeah.
But, there's no escaping Stalag 13.
Are we talking about inbreeding?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not really inbreeding when you're forced to breed with people that are fenced into the same facility as you are for an indefinite amount of time, right? I mean, I think the laws kind of...
Well, hold on here, Alex. You're talking like inbreeding is a bad thing.
That's a good point. I'm not trying to make a judgment. I'm just talking about from U.S. judicial standards, that I don't think that holds true anymore if you don't have the option to go outside of your, let's say, your genetic range, to not inbreed if you're walled into the little town of Sedalia.
Our gene pool isn't being fed by a mountain stream. It's a bit of standing water, if you will.
And the Trump Tower.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that Trump inherited all his money. Obviously, I'm not following politics that closely, but he has never earned a dime of that money. That's what I was told.
As far as I know, he inherited $8 billion and now has $3 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a good return.
Nope, that's true. That is diminishing returns. However, he still has $3 billion, enough to build a wall around each city.
I'm going to retract my idea about a Trump Tower in Sedalia and just suggest we put a tent.
A
Trump tent.
A Trump tent. Well, there you go. I think Jim's got it right there. I think we're going to actually propose this to Trump to make this part of his first month when he's president is to get that first wall up in Sedalia, Missouri, so his town does not die. Well, all right, let's go on to our next winner, and that's Darnell from Omaha, Nebraska, and he writes, Dear Win, any suggestions on how to train my kids to not sit on the toilet with the toilet seat up? Jim, how many kids do you have?
0.
Oh, okay. Dave, how many do you have?
Hey, I had foster kids.
Okay.
But I don't anymore.
What happened to them?
I had to give them back. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Like a leash?
So, did you get like a refund?
No, they moved on.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I don't mean to like higher vibration.
Yeah, they moved on.
I have no idea why I'm laughing.
To the afterlife? Is that what you're saying, Dave?
It was very painful, actually, to let them move on.
It was really painful to dismember
we can
them.
Tell.
Yeah.
But in lieu of that, not once was the 2-year-old stuck on the toilet seat because it was up.
Really? So how did you keep him from sitting down on a...
So he had a little insert, a toilet insert. That's a good start.
Okay.
For a child that age.
Almost like an orthotic for the toilet.
It's like, it's like hooked on phonics for, waste material. What I'm saying, it's a step at a time.
Okay, Jim, I know you got some good ideas on how, because you're very good into behavioral science.
I would first of all be a little worried about your child that's wanting to sit on the cold porcelain as opposed to the not quite as cold plastic.
Yeah, or padded foam.
Yeah, that sounds like they just might have some sociopathic tendencies. So I would not get any pets if I'm you, and shock therapy.
Shock therapy, that's a good one. You know what, though? The only caveat I have to that, Jim, is that he doesn't say that the child is human. What if the child is a sea otter and it just wants to go into the water? It just wants to be in water, so it sits in the water versus sitting on that nice foamy seat. It's not going to be able to frolic around on its back and open up fecal clams or anything. That, it's one of those things that what if his child is actually not even human?
But if it's a sea otter, they're actually using sea otters to predict earthquakes in Russia. The water drains differently here than it does overseas. It goes counterclockwise.
Yeah, that's
here.
very
If you flush your toilet, it'll go clockwise.
And that would be the way to train your child not to sit on the seat.
Make them walk clockwise in a circle.
Good idea.
And you will clear that problem up.
Well, there you go. I think we've solved that problem. And we got one more little piece of inspiration to get you through the rest of the week, known as Horoscope Corner.
Love, fortune, status. Let us do your astrological chart. Horoscope Corner on World Improv Network.
Oh no, Aries, you're going to have some dangerous Harrys, Styles invading your apartment unless you go to the World Improv Network. Like us on Facebook. You can check us out on Twitter at World Improv Net. You can send us suggestions. We're on YouTube, the World Improv Network. Subscribe, like our videos. We have a podcast on iTunes. Check us out over there, the World Improv Network. Every week, this show goes up there. Leave reviews, leave some stars. You can check us out on Periscope or Facebook Live. And as always, you can catch us live on the radio, AM 1340 and FM 104.7 KDCO every Sunday night. Good night.
Thanks for listening to Win on Mile High Sports Radio. Don't forget to be a winner and interact with the cast by sending your suggestions or questions for each show segment throughout the week by hitting them up on Facebook at World Improv Network, on Twitter at World Improv Net, or by calling into the Mile High Sports Radio studio line on Sundays before or during the show. See you next week.